Hi, and welcome to the Authentic Audience Podcast. I'm your host, Krista Ripma. This is a marketing podcast like you haven't heard before. It's about real connections and honest conversations. Why am I here? To remind you that you can fly. If you're brave enough to listen to that calling inside you, I'm here to serve you and show you that marketing can and should be honest, that the truth sells and authenticity wins. So, how can businesses and brands build a real and authentic audience? The Authentic Audience Podcast gives you insight into growing your business and marketing strategies to gain real followers and loyal customers. Each week, I create a space of radical honesty for thought leaders and entrepreneurs who have built successful businesses to share their insights on business, marketing, relationships, life, and spirituality. Each episode is sure to remind you the power of storytelling and truth selling. Get ready to get real, get raw, get honest, and keep growing. Hello, hello, hello. Happy podcast day wherever you are in the world. This is going to be a short and sweet update from me. This is the finale of season 1 of the Authentic Audience Podcast. I can't believe it. Almost 50 episodes nonstop. We've been doing this thing, and I've said this before, but it's my favorite thing I get to do. Meet people, connect with people, new friends, old friends, and lift them up and showcase their businesses, their gifts, and the amazing work they're doing in the world. So it's just been the most amazing year plus. I started it almost a year and a half ago, and we haven't taken a break, which is kind of amazing. So a couple weeks ago, I'm recording this right now. It's June 8th, 2020. So there's a lot happening in the world. Coronavirus has been rampant for a couple of months now. And then obviously, as we all know, with the horrendous murder of George Floyd sparking the protests and the Black Lives Matter movement, there's a lot going on. And before that happened, before this movement really started to pick up this traction, I had this major intuitive hit to go inwards. I had actually even deleted my social media for the first time. I'm being told to be quiet. I oftentimes do this thing where I meditate on what my business is asking of me. And after some crazy things happened, crazy unforeseen events over the last couple of weeks in business, which I'm definitely not ready to talk about. I'm not sure if I'll ever be ready to talk about, to be honest. But I want to be quiet. And then just like that, the Black Lives Matter protests began, and I realized that there's a difference between being quiet and being silent. I am not silent. I put Instagram back on my phone. I sent a post. I mean, the bare minimum basically that I could do on social media, but what I'm doing is much bigger than that. I'm having conversations in the business. I had an amazing conversation, an important conversation with my podcast producer when I recently realized how white my podcast is and how little I am celebrating people of color on the podcast and just diversity in general, and that needs to change going forward. I know that, and I am taking strong actions to reach out to those people in my world that I look up to, that I'm listening to right now. Rachel Cargill being the main amazing human being, which would just be a dream to get her on here. It was a dream to have her on my podcast a year ago. And she's just really blown up since this movement began, and I'm listening to every word she's saying. I'm taking her syllabus. It's called The Great Unlearn. You can sign up for this beautiful course that she's created. And yeah, I'm having a lot of conversations. I'm donating, I'm listening, and I am taking action in the places in my life that I have control over. There's a lot happening in the world right now that is out of our control. And to surrender to that, to trust that, and take action in the areas that we have control over. And for me, that means being quiet right now. It means regrouping. It means rebuilding. And I already have some really incredible podcast guests, podcast recorded for season 2. So we're going to kick off in just over a month. But I'm going to take a little break. I think that for many, many reasons, it's not my time to speak right now. I want to support this movement moving forward in new ways with the business. And I'm basically looking into what that means right now. And if you're on my plate, if you're already a client, if you're already in my world, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. But I'm going to just take some time with the podcast, with my life, with my work, with my husband, and take a little break from the output of communication, the output of information, basically me talking all the time. Because whether it's the podcast or whether it's coaching, deep dives, strategy, I spend 8 out of 10 of my waking hours talking. And I'm ready to just be quiet and take action where I can. So what I did want to say is for everyone listening and that everyone that supported this amazing podcast, the community is unbelievable. I am in shock, truly, at how many people have tuned in each week, supported this, supported me, reached out, commented, DM, reviews, all of the things. And this is something I hope to grow for many, many years. But it feels like a good place to pause, a good place to reflect and end season 1. So this is the official season 1 finale. It has been the most beautiful experience connecting with these people. I'm just looking through right now the people who have been a guest on the show and who have inspired me and who now I call my friends and clients that I actually met doing an interview on the podcast. So I'm also going on some more podcasts. I'm being featured on more business and marketing podcasts. And I really do think that this podcast has had so much to do with that and so much to do with the growth of our company. And we're evolving as we all are. We're learning and making changes with the new information that we have, right? We can only do with what we know, and then we know more and we learn more and we need to act on that. So that's what I'm doing right now. I just wanted to pop in. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for holding space each week for me, for my guests, for listening, for sharing, and have a beautiful summer. Have a beautiful summer wherever you are, whatever you can do to take action in your life, to support the movement, to support our collective. I think it's a really important time to be awake. Yeah. So stay awake, stay in love, stay in service, and until next time, keep growing.